It's sort of an end of an era, with the Dutch Grand Prix not expected to return for the foreseeable future in Formula 1. Let's have a look forward to the Battle of the Dunes. Let's have a look forward to Zandvoort. And we'll start off with the schedule for this seaside resort race as F1 returns from its summer break. We have F1 Academy and the Porsche Super Cup sporting this weekend, and the action will kick off on Friday with FP1 for F1 at 12:30 PM local time, 11:30 AM UK time, followed by F1 Academy practice at 2 PM. Then we have sprint qualifying, because it is a sprint weekend, 4:30 PM local time, 3:30 PM UK time, whilst the on-track action is rounded up at 6 PM local by Super Cup practice. On the Saturday, F1 Academy qualifying will kick things off at 9:20 AM local, followed by the Porsche Super Cup at 10:15. It's then the F1 Sprint at midday local time, 11 AM UK time, 24 laps or 60 minutes, followed by the reverse grid race for F1 Academy at 2:35 PM local. F1 qualifying will be at 4 PM local, 3 PM UK time, before the Super Cup action again rounds out the day's action at 6 PM local for race 1. Sunday we have the F1 Academy feature race. That will be taking place at 10:30 AM local, followed by Super Cup race 2 at 11:45 AM local. And then 3 PM local time, 2 PM UK time, it is time for the Dutch Grand Prix. Now, as for a recap for 2025, it was not a sprint weekend, but it was one that was won by Oscar Piastri. This is when he had been on the absolute tear over the course of last season. It's just before things started to go wrong. Max Verstappen was his closest challenger in the race after Lando Norris had to retire. That caused the late race safety car, which meant that Verstappen was able to have the opportunity to challenge. 1.2 seconds a gap, and then 3.2 seconds back was third place Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls. This was the weekend where Yuki Tsunoda got points, but he was 9th. Behind Hadjar were Russell, Albon, Behrman, Stroll, Alonso, Tsunoda, and Ocon for the remaining points places, with Ocon just about beating Franco Colapinto to P10. It was one of those races that was just defined by the chaos of it. We saw Lewis Hamilton off going through Lundijk, and Charles Leclerc getting killed by Kimi Antonelli at the same corner about 30 laps later. Antonelli received a 10-second penalty for his troubles, which demoted him from 6th in the running order down to... where was this in the end for Antonelli? 16th, because he'd also picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But, yeah, it was one of those beautifully chaotic races that Zandvoort was known to produce in the previous generation of cars. And now we have to think about what it's going to do with this generation of cars. There's a high chance of propensity for chaos would continue, especially because we're after the summer break. We could see a whole wave of upgrades coming in. We've got Monza just after this as well, so we could easily see some people trying to push their engines a little bit if they got a new spec engine before we end up with the Temple of Speed. But I wouldn't expect any major upheavals, at least at the front of the running order for Zandvoort. Do expect that you'll see a slightly different form guide though. We could say, for example, because we know about the ICE strengths of Red Bull, that Max Verstappen could end up winning his home race for the last time that it's on the calendar for the foreseeable. We could see it be a good Ferrari track as well, what with the stop-start nature of it, lots of launching, though Mercedes have closed the gap to that kind of advantage that Ferrari had over the first half of the season. It could be a good Mercedes track, but there is a likelihood that some of the strengths that that car has are nullified by the stop-start nature of Zandvoort. And it could also be one where McLaren could throw another spanner in the works, what with the win and what was a potential 1-2 last time out in Hungary. Don't be surprised if one of the midfielders suddenly has a fantastic weekend. Aston Martin could be dialing in that essentially B-spec car that we've seen last time out in Hungary. We could see Williams make jumps up the field. We could see the likes of Audi or Alpine. or Haas. We could see anybody make a big improvement. And heck, remember, Cadillac have got a new team principal with Graham Loudon leaving the organisation, and Marcin Budkowski coming back into the Formula One fold. Former Alpine director, now with Cadillac. Anyways, folks, that's that for this video. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, thanks for your continued support for this channel. Till next time, bye for now.